But in Hebrews 3, the writer is warning the Jews not to make the same mistake that their fathers did who didn't trust God to bring them in the promised land. Remember how upset God got when they didn't trust him to get them in the promised land. They didn't trust him to take care of them there. They're like, we can't defeat these giants. We can't get through these walls. And they didn't trust God. That made God very upset. And so he's warning them there about the Jews. That was a very crucial time when God's bringing them out of Egypt and he's about to take them into the promised land, a land that's flowing with milk and honey. The Jews now, during this time, were in another position very similar to the one they were in before. When they were in that wilderness, they needed to trust God that he was going to defeat their enemies for them, and they needed to go into that promised land. But they didn't. They didn't believe God, therefore they didn't get to go into the promised land. Now, the Jews during this generation are at a new pivotal moment where things have changed drastically. Jesus Christ has come. Jesus Christ has made the final sacrifice. They are not supposed to sacrifice animals anymore. Jesus Christ has come along, and they no longer have a high priest from the Levites. They have Jesus Christ, an eternal high priest after the order of Melchizedek. Now, in the past, they had all these sacrifices, all these feasts, all these ceremonial things they were supposed to do. Now, they are supposed to just trust Christ. They're supposed to enter into his rest. And he's warning them that they are going to be in great trouble if they do not enter into that rest. In fact, they're going to be in the same trouble the people were who didn't trust Jesus or God to get them into the promised land. You're going to die and you're going to go to hell. All the Jews who were around that were scattered all over the world, after Jesus died on the cross, after everything changed, we see the apostles going, and they would always go to the Jews first. Well, what are they telling them? What are they teaching them? They're teaching them, I believe, what we see in the book of Hebrews. And they're telling them, hey, this is what we do now. It's not like it was before. And those who were truly saved, I believe, they followed after Christ. And they ceased from their labors. They quit doing all those sacrifices and things. The ones who decided they were going to reject the Word of God, that were going to reject the Old Testament, they rejected Christ and eventually formed the satanic cult known as the Synagogue of Satan, which have hijacked the name Jew today. They say they are Jews and are not. They call their religion Judaism, but it is not. Okay? And they are an absolute fraud. They are a break-off of the true church, is what I believe that they are. Because I don't believe when the Apostle Paul got saved, he ceased being a part of Israel. He quit being Israel and joined the church. And that the disciples all of a sudden lost all the blessings that were promised to Israel and only get the blessings promised to the church. No, it's all of the same body. God made them all of one body. We are a continuation of that church.